Welcome to Jimigsanomaly, the podcast. Today's guest is Sergio Gaetani, a Detroit musician who just released a concept album in 2024, The West That Never Was. It also has a supporting video that was filmed in Monument Valley. So sit back and enjoy as we get into Sergio's musical vision and talk about his homemade wines and musical gear. And now, your host, Jim Lazak. We have the great honor of having in our studio today, Sergio Gaetani.
Jimmy, nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, actually. So let's get right into it, all right? You just released an album.
Yeah.
So it's called The West That Never Was, and I actually have not just, I noticed that you have more stuff than that out, and that's right here. I got it on the screen. This is from Apple Music, and you can see at the very top your latest release, The West That Never Was, and you also have your album from 2018. Tell us about that one.
That one was cool. So that was like the album was kind of like an experiment, right? I've been working sideman for years, before that, and I wanted to just do something on my own. So that was kind of like a challenge to myself of what could I do with basically an iPad, and record it, track it, drum sequence it all myself. So I would just in the evenings kind of chip away at it. And had a couple of friends play on it to help out a little bit. But that was really just an experiment of, okay, I have a simple drum machine and an iPad. What can I do that would be kind of cool, right? So that was a pretty fun little EP of like really doing it on my own. Because before that record, I was always with a band or had bands to play with and work on the record together or work on an album or a song. And you kind of work the parts together and do it as like a mutual thing. So that one was unique where, like I said, I had some friends give some advice and perform on it, but it was really, that was at the tail end of it, right? So I thought it came out pretty good considering it's just really an iPad record,
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty fun.
How long did it take you to do that record?
I probably worked on it about 6 months or a year.
6 months to a year?
Yeah. And I was also like fine-tuning some writing and writing a bunch of stuff that wasn't very good, so I didn't make it, and kind of teaching myself how to use a lot of the new studio gear that's out there versus the stuff from when I was young, those old tapes things. So learning that whole process and trying to get something put together. So
do you run into the problem that most musicians and producers run into, the definition of done? When is it good enough?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like it's trying to. I have a hard time with stepping away from it, right? Because you can't listen to it too much because then your ears get used to it. And you can't, so you have to be very limited in how often you actually hear it. So you want to give yourself fresh ears as much as possible. So, everything could be better. Like we do versions of a tune where, hey, let's cut it in half, let's elongate it, let's redo the harmonies, let's redo this, let's change the feel completely. And now it's so cheap to do it at home, it's just your time, right? You're not throwing money out in the old days. Like I have $200 an hour in the studio. Even if it's just a little iPad, I can go forever until I feel like it's done because there's whatever. So yeah, 100% of trying to say when is this actually done, and is it good enough to throw it out in the universe and see if people latch onto it or not.
Absolutely, yeah. So with the new album, did you have the same experience in terms of definition of done?
A little bit, So that the new album, The West That Never Was, I worked on that for about a year and wrote it, and I did something similar where. Over time, I was able to improve my home studio where I was working, so I got out of an iPad and onto proper stuff at home. And then getting everything written and tracked and all the parts put in place. But I knew with The West That Never Was, there's certain things I wouldn't be able to do on my own, And the drum sequencing was cool and the loops were cool, but I really wanted an opportunity to do some live band stuff on it.
Absolutely.
So the guys at Rust Belt at the time had just redone their studio, the live room.
Oh, over here?
Yeah, in Royal Oak. So they just rebuilt it, and had it acoustically treated and redid the whole thing. So,
What year was that?
what year is it now?
This is 2025.
So it's probably 22, 23,
Okay.
somewhere right around there. We went and tracked it. Parts of it, not all of it. About half the record's tracked there. So having that track there, really, one, just having a live drummer on it, live bass player. I got some really great musicians on it. I was really lucky to get the musicians on that. So because how that process was done, what I had to have all my parts done, written, so we had limited time. So we could go and just hit it once or twice, 3 times, get it recorded, get it done, and then move from there. So once that was taking place, I had to have a deadline for, here's the song, because I can't go back and change it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the money to go back to the studio and change it.
Right.
I don't have the money to pay the musicians to go back and change it.
Absolutely.
There's so much money to make records.
Right.
And then whatever money I have, we got to pay for mixing, mastering, all that stuff that comes after it.
Yeah.
So it had to be done, right?
Yeah.
And that was the scenario with that.
Absolutely. I get that.
Yeah.
Rust Belt Studios, a great studio. They produced
cool.
Greta Van Fleet's debuted album, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, there's a story that they took some of the money they made from Greta Van Fleet and paid to redo the studio and to bring it up.
That's great.
Yeah, they were so
that's
great.
A really good production they did.
Oh my gosh, so good. So good. Such a killer album. Those guys are so young doing such cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't know who the mix engineer was on that, but really phenomenal. I thought did a great job mixing it.
Yeah, I think it was all Al Sutton doing the whole thing.
Al Sutton did the whole thing, really? Wow.
Yeah, he was the producer on that. He did such a great job, and he's such a great guy.
Yeah.
And that studio's run so well. It's got such a great heritage, even from the bands before that have been there and the legends that go in there after.
Yeah.
You get such a good roster inside that studio.
I only talked to Al Sutton on the phone. I've never met him in person, but he was just absolutely phenomenal when I called him because one of my multi-tracks broke down, and I figured he would know where to go to get it fixed. So I contacted him. It was right after Greta Van Fleet came out with that album, and he was just really, really, really gracious. So I have one more question for you. The West That Never Was, there in the synopsis it says, what if Flaming Lips created a spaghetti western? What's Flaming Lips, and what do you mean by that?
So there's an indie rock band called the Flaming Lips. I'm a huge fan of them. Been a fan of theirs for a long time. They do some really cool experimental records. Mm-hmm. The Soft Bolton was a huge influence on me from I love the record and just also from the songwriting. So a buddy of mine kind of planted a seed in my ear a while ago about doing kind of like a Western type record. And I was like, well, I'm not going to do just a paint by number because a lot of people have done that. They do like this Ennio Morricone like tribute. And I just didn't want to do that. It's not who I feel like. It's just kind of painting by numbers.
Right.
So I'm like, well, what do I want to do with this? Because I always like to play in some different sounds. I was like, well, what would they do with the Flaming Lips? How would they do it? Right? How would they kind of make it a little weird, a little experimental? Where would they take things? So that was kind of like my overall thought process through it. I was like, what would those guys do if they were doing something kind of wild? That's what we kind of came up with.
That's awesome. So if our listeners are hearing music behind us, there's another show being shot in the studio today.
Yeah.
And there's a live band in here, and we don't mind that because we're musicians, right?
Absolutely.
So so let's go ahead and play the trial, and we'll talk about it.
Great. And we never talk about the trail. The life we live is ours, not for some tale. Knew the things we do, you'd say the crew. I'd agree with you. I have searched for such a long time. Know what you did is wrong. No place left to hide. We decide the time for you to die, and your time has arrived.
That's really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, director. Who's the director? Greg Kosh?
Kiran Koshy.
Kiran Koshy.
Yeah. So he was cool, man. The whole thing, how it came together, I called a friend of mine who does a bunch of videos. I moved out west. I've been living in Southern California, about an hour outside LA for a while. And I called a friend of mine and said, hey, do you know any students that might want to do a music video? Someone like a young director that has energy and time and wants to do something cheap, right? Add their buck. And he goes, oh, I know a good producer. Like, he won't do it, but he'll get some names for you. So he calls this guy, Kiran, and he goes, hey, Kiran, my buddy Tano just released this record. He's looking for someone to do a music video. He goes, can you make some recommendations? And he goes, well, send it over. He goes, yeah, I want to do the video. So it was really cool. I got like a seasoned producer.
So you got the guy.
I got the guy. And he called, we meet it, and he goes, and the first thing he says to me, he goes, I really like the music. It's super fun. He goes, I'm feeling some type of like alien space cowboy, right? And I'm like, and as soon as he said that, I'm like, all right, this is the snare. We have to go for it, because the guys at Rust Belt, they were teasing me. They're like, all right, we nicknamed your record the Space Cowboy record. Right?
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, you get it. Like, you get the whole everything. I didn't show him the album cover. I didn't show him anything. And we kind of went down this Space Cowboy path based upon some of the feedback we got from the guys at the Rust Belt. So we, which also in line with the whole trippiness, psychedelic thing from the Flaming Lips. So we started going down this path, and he just picked up on it. I didn't say a word, right? He just picked up on it. I'm like, all right, we got to go. So he went back for some ideas, and he turns to me and goes, all right, it's a couple months later, he's like, I want to do something great. Let's go to Monument Valley in the Navajo Nation. And I was like, can we film there? He goes, oh, yeah, we'll make it happen.
Where is that at, for people that don't know?
It's in it's the upper corner of Arizona.
Okay.
So it's about an hour to a couple hours, maybe 2 might be right. I'm going to script the math on this one, but it's a couple hours past Flagstaff,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's in Arizona, part of the Navajo Nation there. Beautiful place. We drove out there overnight, and he goes, I think we can pull it off. And he goes, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to, I want to put you in an alien costume. I want you to ride a horse and play the song and play guitar and sing along. I'm like, dude, I've never ridden a horse in my life.
I was thinking, okay, how can this be green screen with a horse? So it had to be real in my head, but I'm like, if it's green screen, it's a really good green screen.
Yeah, no, it's all real. And it was really great. This project was really cool because every time we start making a little traction we start explaining what we're doing, more and more people want to get involved. And the more people want to get, well, it kind of snowballed. Like, even just the musicians we got on the record, I couldn't believe I was getting such great players and so many wonderful guys to contribute their talent to it.
Who can you mention them?
Oh yeah, it's kind of a dream record for me. We had Chuck Bertel's on the bass for a tune. We had Jim Simonson play a couple tunes. Takashi Io was on bass for a couple tunes. John Holkebor from John Holk and the Sequins played bass on the record. On one of the songs. We had Mike List plays percussion. Rick Beeman played drums on it. We had.
So you were
going. The list keeps going, right?
Yeah,
all these guys
had some good company.
Great players. That's right.
Yeah.
So, and then when we got out to the video too, we started figuring out, like, I can't. I don't know how to ride a horse. I don't know how to do this. And then he's like, hey, you'll figure it out. And then he goes, I got a guy in LA who wants to do the mask. So we created this the alien costume, and he made the mask for us. And then as we started getting closer to shoot, he turns to me and he goes, I need to come up with a couple more bucks. I go, I have no more money, man. Like, I'm broke. There's no way. He goes, you need a little more money for this. I got a cinematographer that you should get on this, because we're going to do 2. I was like, okay, scrounging some extra bucks, and we get out there. So it's Kiran, who's the director, and then you got these 2 videographers who are fantastic. And I turned to one of them and say, so, we're from LA. What do you work on? Anything that I might have seen? He goes, well, I worked on Yellowstone season 3.
Great.
I'm like, great, man. That's awesome. So it was such a wonderful, it might have been season 2. It doesn't really matter. But it was such a wonderful experience to have these guys that knew what they're doing, they were so encouraging, as I'm fumbling my way through the horse and everything, trying to make it look cool,
Did you have any trepidation before they said, take?
Yeah, because it was cold and rainy, right? And I can't see out of the mask. Like the mask was, I have a whole new respect for the guys that wear this kind of like costumes in movies and TV shows.
Who designed the mask?
This guy named Eric. This is what he does for a living. He lives up in L.A. He makes these alien masks and costumes, and whole new respect for the guys that make the masks because how difficult it is, and the actors that wear them in TV shows for hours upon hours, a day.
Oh yeah.
It was rainy. It was cold. I was on a horse. I didn't know how to ride a horse,
Mm-hmm.
And then, just trying to get through it. So I'm like, God, I hope this looks good,
Yeah.
I'm trying to fumble my way through it.
Well, the first time I rode a horse, my wife took me over on 26 Mile Road in Mound where Bill Freehand used to have his house, I think. And there was a big horse stable over there where you could go. And I was cool. Petrified because my brother, when he got into an accident, I think he jacked his back up a little bit. So I was a little scared, and I said, give me the most mellow horse you got. And she's like, oh, yeah. We have this horse here. She's never done anything to anyone, and she's just a sweetheart. Yeah. So I get on her, and she takes off. And she starts running, really fast, and she was trying to knock me off. She was, like, going by a little creek, and she was, like, going really close to the trees. And all these little... By the way, one of the details that I forgot to give you was that there was a whole group of young Girl Scouts that were witness to this, and I probably scarred them for life as they see this older guy on a horse screaming, help me, help me, help me, Awesome. And... they had to come out, send the person who owned the stables to come rescue me, and my wife was so embarrassed, and she said, well, we're not going to do that again.
That's
but
awesome.
We ended up doing it in Hawaii, and my horse in Hawaii stood up. I had to go in the back of all these horses because Big Mac, the horse that I had, didn't like other horses. So the lady in front of me, she didn't know what she was doing, and she was backing her horse up into me, and my horse bit the other horse's butt and stood up on his back. But luckily, I hung on, and I felt like Tonto, and I'm just hanging out. I look over, and there's about 8,000-foot drop off behind me down to the water, and I just hung on, and it sat back down. But it was, it's kind of interesting, and I'll never, ever, ever forget it. Is very, very interesting. So we got another video here called The Runner. Yeah. Tell us about that.
So The Runner is actually the first video we made with Kiran. So he wanted to do this one. We rented a space in L.A. And got this wonderful actress on it. And we just put together pretty quickly. We had the same videographer. One of the same videographers that did the other video we just watched did the cam work on this one too. So this was just the first tune off the record. Shot it really cheap, really quickly. It's just a fun video. And then Kiran's had this storyline he wanted to pursue about, which you'll see with some double crossing. But it's pretty interesting.
In terms of production costs, just for the video alone. Was it order of magnitude from the video we just saw, The Trail, to the one we're going to see, The Runner?
Oh, yeah. The Trail was significantly more expensive than this one we're about to see. We put this together super cheap. This
was 10 times, 20 times, 40 times?
The thing is, when we even did the video in the Monument Valley, we had so many favors called in, and so many people want to contribute. Like the guys at the Navajo Nation that heard what we were doing, they thought it was awesome, and they hooked us up, right? And then the videographers and the DPs, they hooked us up, and Kiran hooked us up. So probably 10 times, but it's not. We're not talking $100,000. That's not realistic. It's not something we could even pretend to try to put together. So
right.
For us, because we were able to pull people in that wanted to basically donate their time or do things, we were able to do some stuff really cool.
Very cool. So let's watch it. This is The Runner.
my Saturday night. Fate played, I took a bite. Dropping jars, picked up off the floor. I got up and knocked down one more. Said to me, you're a long way from home. Oh girl, I'm right where I belong. 'Cause when I'm in your arms, I fall my fears. Battles got us strong. I don't shed no tears while I miss those days when your love rained. I'll run to you. I'll run to you. I'll run to you. Keeping cool with shaking knees. Broken songs are staring down at me. Play those cards high up your sleeve. Take my hand and run away with me. 'Cause when I'm in your arms, I lose my fears. Battles got us strong. I don't shed no tears while I miss those days when your love rained. I'll run to you. 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 Lock the door, baby, lay here with me. He can't find what he can't see. Little longer and you'll be free. Lock the door, baby, lay here with me. When I'm in your arms, I've fought my fears. Battle scars are strong. I don't shed no tears while I miss those days when your love rained. I'll run with you. I'll run with you. 'Cause when I'm in your arms, I fall my fears. Battle scars are strong. I don't shed no tears while I miss those days when your love rained. I'll run with you. 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 I'll run with you.
That is The Runner by Sergio Gaetani. So I was watching that last night in the comfort of my own house,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, what just happened here? Was Sergio murdered or was he roofied?
Bit of both, probably. Yeah, there's a little bit of a double cross going on.
So yeah, give us your highlight of, or is it up to the viewer to determine what's really happening in that video?
I think it's up to the viewer on that one, because I wrote the song, and it's about the overall concept of the album was there was a guy who fell in love with a less reputable woman, right? Mm-hmm. And then her past catches up to her, and in the concept of the album is she's murdered. And then our guy spends his whole life trying to get revenge for the murder, his wife or girl, whatever. And then he becomes a bad guy along the way, right? So he becomes a horrible person as he's hell-bent on revenge, which is not an original new story, right? That's a classic spaghetti western story that's been told 1,000 times. So I was kind of playing with this concept. And Kiran, the director, he took the song and he kind of changed the storyline a little bit, and that she was double-crossing him because that's how he heard the tune. So he interpreted the song different than what I originally intended it. But I think the storyline's really cool. So
it sure is, yeah.
Wherever, at that point, my portion of the creative process is done. I made the song. I said, Kiran, make me a video. Whatever you want the story to be, you're in charge now. So it's kind of his thing, and I thought it was great. So now it's next to just the viewer to interpret anything they want. However they see it, this is how they see it.
Well, now I know it was Roofies because you're here.
Yeah, there you go.
I was worried about that.
Yeah, no, I'm still alive. I'm here.
So we have a video. It's called the Berkeley Front live performance. But before we show that video, I wanted to ask you: is Sergio Gaetani your real name?
Well, Sergio's my middle name. So Tano's my first name, and I started going by my middle name for this project. It's a stage name, mainly just because a lot of people had a hard time with the name Tano. To me, it's a simple name. I like my name, but people just struggled with it. People understand Sergio much easier than they understand Tano.
Are you Sicilian?
We're Italian. So my dad's from Italy. He's from northern Italy.
Nice. I just spent 3 weeks there in June with my family.
Oh, did you?
It was wonderful.
Yeah, we were just there actually in February.
Nice.
We were in Milan and Bologna for a couple of days.
Beautiful.
Great. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
Yeah. So that's it. And then Gaetani, that's not my real last name. Basically, my first name, Tano. Gaetano is short for Tano. So I kind of flipped it, and, you put an I at the end and it pluralizes the name. Mm-hmm. So it's like your name's Mike and turning your last name into Michaels, right?
Yeah. So
I kind of did the Chaz Michaels things and just took my first name, elongated it, made it the plural as my last name for this project. But
so I met you, I believe it was in it was in 2009.
Yeah, something
you
like that.
were in the Big Will Elijah band.
Yeah, I was back in a Big Will.
Yeah, and you were playing over on Woodward at Dino's, as I recall.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, it was great. And so I have this video, or this audio here. I'm going to put it on. I think this is Big Will playing on a song I never released. If we hear trumpet, I'm sure it's him.
Yeah, it's probably him. It's super cool.
Yeah. That's Jason Didia.
Okay.
And I believe Big Will is harmonizing them on trumpet. Do you still keep in touch with Big Will?
I haven't talked to him in a while. I heard he moved out west. I know. So, but I haven't talked to him in a while. But I wish him the best of luck. But it was great. It was great playing in his band. Great group of guys. He has some really cool stuff going on.
Oh yeah, I think in a short period of time, because he was in the Sun Messengers, the Pistons house band. Mm-hmm. Short period of time, he put together a pretty good band.
Yeah. And
you guys had a good crowd going around, and I mean everybody in the band was just rock solid.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole band was slamming. Andre the drum was playing drums. He was so loud and punchy and on top of it. He was so good.
Andre
so
the Bell,
great.
Yeah. So let's hear Greg Barron's vocal. You can hear Big Will there.
Yeah.
So I got the assignment from a couple guys I record with.
Yeah.
They said, okay, Jimmy, go home, take these tracks, and make it into, like, they're doing this anthology on music, right?
Yeah.
The Creed and Jimi Hendrix era. And this is what I came back with, so I had epic fail.
No, I think it's great. It's cool. It has like almost like a Chicago sound to it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Well, Jason Didia and Big Will totally elevated this song, in my opinion.
Horns are great.
Oh, yeah. And music. So,
Yeah.
where did you grow up? You grew up in Detroit?
Grew up in the suburbs. Yeah. Here in Troy, Michigan.
We had a guest on the other day who has a song, Everybody Wants Detroit.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, everybody, you know, they want to say they're from Detroit regardless of where they're from because everybody knows Detroit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no one knows Troy, Michigan.
Yeah, right. Nobody knows Troy, Michigan because there's a Troy in almost every state, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so how long have you been playing guitar?
I probably started when I was around 12.
12 years old.
Yeah, 12, and then, you know, normal kid. Took guitar lessons at the music shop down the street from my house, you know. Eventually worked my way over to Wayne State, studied jazz down there for a while. And then that's where I met so many of the musicians I got to play with throughout, you know, my career playing guitar and everything.
Yeah.
That was the best part of it, was just making those connections and playing with those other guys.
So many
Yeah.
great musicians come out of Wayne
Oh,
State
God.
University.
Yeah, totally got my ass handed
The
to me while
guy-
I was there.
Playing saxophone on that song is from Wayne State,
Yeah.
Jason Didia, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you think you're good, and then you get to Wayne, and you start playing with these other guys. You're like, oh, okay, I suck.
The facilities there are amazing. What kind of facilities, what year were you there?
I was there 97 to 02, somewhere right around there. So that's back when they were in the old jazz building, and they were transitioning into Old Main. So Old Main was still under repair when we got there. So
Okay.
we were in all the old buildings for the majority of my tenure there. And the last year or two, we got some classes in Old Main.
Well, that Old Main facility was developed into a really spectacular facility.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Have you
really
been in it?
Yeah, I haven't been there in a long time. They had I remember that when they were building it, they had a number of issues with the music side of it that they had to go back and redo. So we were all delayed getting in there. But once we were there, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really nice facility.
So this Berkeley Front Live, what is Berkeley Front?
So there used to be a bar in Berkeley, Michigan called the Berkeley Front. So around 2000, 99, 2000, somewhere around there. I rented a flat in Berkeley, Michigan with a bunch of friends, and then at the same time I started playing in a band with a group of other guys. So we'd hang out at the Berkeley Front, and then the band I was playing would start playing there as well. So I can't remember the name. It transferred into a new bar now. I don't remember the name. Like, it doesn't really matter. But we used to play. That's one of the clubs we first started out at. So I wrote
Where
this
was it at?
on 12 Mile in Berkeley.
Okay.
So
it wasn't a New Way bar or anything like that?
No. It was there for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those bars where there's like a bar, restaurant downstairs, and upstairs they had a little bar and a live music room.
Yeah.
I think it might be called 24 Seconds now or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not really sure what it's called now. But one of the first rooms we started playing in this band was the Berkeley Front. And I ended up being in that band for about 6 or 7 years, and it was a really good band. We had a great time, and we accomplished a lot of cool stuff. But I just kind of wrote the song about that period of time. You know, I was pretty young, in my early 20s. We're renting this flat in Berkeley, Michigan, and then playing the Berkeley Front and trying to, you know, you're starting out where you want to go.
The video itself, it looks like it's in a live situation.
Yeah.
I see a guy who, Takahashi Leo on the video? Takashi, I'm sorry. I've never met him,
Oh, he's a great guy.
but we're Facebook friends.
Oh, there you go.
And I sent him a messenger yesterday asking him if he could come by and pop in and surprise you because we're going to play this song. But he had a gig down in Detroit today. So I wanted to see the Berkeley Front.
There you go.
Who's playing drums?
Rick Beeman.
like they used to do. In a meet-up house, I'd smoke a thing or two. Wondering if my dreams would ever come true. Wondering if I'd ever be with you. Dreaming bigger things, dreaming out bigger days. Not sure I could walk away, not sure I should stay. In a meet-up house, the rain falls down on me. Buckets of rain have made a truce. Rainfall gives the rhythm of the day. A door slams and the house shakes away. A million stories passing through the street, wondering if we would ever meet. Dreaming bigger things, dreaming out bigger days. Not sure I could walk away, not sure I should stay. Rhythms fill the streets as our dreams come true. Rhythms fill the streets as our dreams come true. Rhythms fill the streets as our dreams come true. Rhythms fill the streets as our dreams come true. Fill us. Fill us. Fill us.
So that was the guitar that you were playing when I saw you play at Dino's with
Probably.
Big Will. Tell us about that guitar.
Oh, that's that guitar. That's an old Jaguar I had, Fender Jaguar. That was unique. It was one of those they call them their player series. So it was kind of like a middle of the road kind of guitar Fender made. It was really just meant to be like cheap and dirty, you know. It was cool. With different pickup configuration than a normal Jaguar. I played that guitar for a long time. It was really, really great guitar.
It's got a great tone.
Yeah. I kind of I sold it. I kind of regret selling it. I ended up buying like a new Jaguar, like a proper '60s reissue with the period correct pickups and everything in it. Which I've been playing that guitar for a long time now. But I do kind of regret selling that white one.
Every musician has a story about something like that. I guess the moron thing I did, my father was a great accordion player.
Yeah.
And he had a 1963 Gibson amplifier.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't have a lot of cash. I was younger, and I jammed with these guys who actually, one of them plays drums on the theme song to my show, Rob Scalisi. Those guys played loud.
Yeah.
And this amp wasn't loud enough to keep up with these guys, probably attributed to some hearing loss that I have. But I just told my dad, I'm like, hey, this isn't, cutting it for me. And we went and we sold that for a Fender Twin.
Oh, yeah, that's loud.
Yeah, but then I sold the Fender Twin for a jazz chorus, and I regret that. I mean, I love the jazz chorus, but I wish I had all three because the Gibson guitar the Gibson amplifier is certainly, now I have no idea what it'd be going for, but a lot of money,
Yeah, I mean, those Gibsons are cool, man, because like they didn't really make that many of them. It's not like people stored them like the old Fender amps. So they kind of were dismissed for a long time. And now people are really appreciating like what they were, because I had a friend who had one, and they just sounded great. But for whatever reason, the Gibson amps didn't latch on like the Fender ones. But yeah, those Gibson amps were fantastic.
Oh yeah, and that's one that I keep hitting myself in the head about. So you do wine. You made wine before you moved to California. You're in California now, right?
Yeah, I'm living out west now.
You gave me, it was during the COVID era, as I recall, because we met in a parking lot and everybody had masks on. You and I didn't, but other people did. And you gave me a case of wine, and I just got through that case, and I used it a lot actually for cooking. Yeah, the white wine, but also for sipping and drinking. It was just phenomenal. How do you make wine?
Oh God, I haven't done it in a long time. It was a fun hobby I got into, but there's only so much space and time to do things.
Absolutely.
But most things I become obsessed with it, and try and make them pro quality. I got fairly far. My wine was decent. It was pretty good.
It was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal. I gave it to some of my guests. They're like, "Well,
I was shipping grapes in from California and making wine in the basement. We got an oak barrel, so we were pressing the grapes and the press, and not with our feet, but an actual press, and extracting the juice and the wine and everything, then putting an oak barrel and aging it and going through the whole process. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to do it.
Yeah, we have a couple really, really good friends that make their own wine, and it's phenomenal as well. Yeah. And it's a laborious process, right?
Yeah, it's pretty long. You spend a week just fermenting the grapes and mashing it down 2-3 times a day. Then you press it and take the juice. Then you do a couple other things to it, and then you got to siphon the wine out from all the junk that floats to the bottom out, and put that in a barrel and age it and all those other things. So it's a fun, laborious, long, tedious process. But once you get like a good bottle of wine, you're like, wow, that's really cool. I did that. It's really
absolutely cool. It's the accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
So Sergio bought me this bottle of wine. Very, very nice. Thank you so much.
I hope you like it.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Is there a story behind the brand, or is just one that you prefer?
No, there's no story at all. I just thought the monkeys look cool, and it should be a good bottle of wine.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I went to a liquor store, BB's, the other day to buy someone a gift, and there's so many wines.
Oh, it's impossible to keep up with it all.
Yeah, it's like, so how do you know if you're just average Joe going into a store? How do you know what wine to get?
Yeah. Would you ever go to Eli's?
No, where's that?
Oh, he's great. He used to be in Royal Oak. He's now in Birmingham. He's at 15 and Woodward. 14 and Woodward.
Okay.
Great guy. Eli's the best. But you can go in there, taste all his wines or a lot of his wines, and you'll talk to him for an hour, and you go, okay, try this, try that. But he imports Spanish, French, and Italian wines. But he knows it like the back of his hand. He's got some really good guys working for him. But Eli's the best. We became friends with him. So there's actually my real last name is Pillot. There's a winery in the south of France called Chateau Pillot. So he's like, do you know these guys? I'm like, well, no, I don't. He's like, oh, you're not family? I'm like, no, I don't know. But he got a case in, and he's like, hey, I saved this bottle for it. It's your same last name as yours. So I thought you'd appreciate it. So really cool guy.
That's really, really, really nice. Check this out. This is get the camera here. Look at the monkeys. So tonight I'll go home. I don't know if we'll drink it tonight because my wife has to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we'll try it then. So my podcast, my selfish motivation for doing the show is to get out some of my music. So we're going to play my song Valentine's Day, and we'll be right back.
Please hang up and try again.
So Tano, I wrote that song in 1990. I'm gonna break some news here. So I said I would break news on the show. So I been working really hard. I've locked myself in my studio for like the last 3 months, and my goal is to have all my music out, all the music that I have on YouTube, and it's all been remixed. I've been a professional engineer in audio engineering for over 35 years, but I wanted everything to be just right, so I upgraded. That was imported from my Fostex to GarageBand. Now I'm using Logic Pro. I think, actually, I've used Pro Tools and Logic Pro. I think Logic Pro 11 is just phenomenal, and the new updates they came out with are just phenomenal. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's great. I use Logic Pro all the time. You know, Pro Tools is great. You know, I get it's the industry standard, but for a normal home musician making records or working on projects, Logic is all you need. It doesn't. Yeah. It's so easy to. The workflows are so much faster. It's easy to work with. You know.
But I'm telling you, if you like the song, the new one that's coming out all sounds so much better. When I listen to that video now, I'm embarrassed.
Are you?
Yeah, because what I have coming out is way better.
I think everyone that listens to their old anything versus the new stuff is embarrassed. You know, like, I'm such a better singer now. I'm a better arranger now. I'm a better songwriter. Everyone who lives like I have some duds that put out there. I'm like, I probably should have kept that one at home and not released it. You know, I think everyone does that.
Yeah, but see, I look at my whole process is different now, and it's much more involved. But I just listened to like the vocal. I redid the vocal, redid the bass. I invested in a distressor, LA2A 1176.
Yeah.
a bunch of the staple, compressors, and so,
Makes a huge difference.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I can't wait for my people that like my music to hear it.
There's a reason why those are studio staples. And everyone has them.
Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you for coming on the show today. It's a great honor and privilege.
Thanks for having me. This was super fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time on Jimmy G's Anomaly, the podcast. All right.
You've been watching Jimmy G's Anomaly, the podcast. We'd like to thank Sergio Gaetani for sharing his musical vision with us. Music for this podcast is provided by Jimmy G's Anomaly Music Group. If you're an artist and would like to appear on the podcast, please shoot us an email at the address shown on the screen. We'll see you next time on Jimmy G's Anomaly, the podcast. Have a great day.